Alright folks, it's a little windy out today, so I'm not sure how this is going to work. And I might have company pop in, or I might have somebody drive by and beep and honk and all of that, so I apologize ahead of time. And the wind is really going to hinder me today, I can see that already. What I should do is staple that, right? I should staple it down. But here we go, here's the rooster. I put him in the kill cone and ended its life, right? I have taken the head off. Taking the head off is easy, folks, right? So first thing I do is end its life, take the head off, and then I go for the feet. So in order to do the feet, folks, I don't know if you're even seeing that, but you find the joint, okay? You find where it bends, and then you follow it up, and that's like an elbow, right? Or a knee. You want to come to the foot side of it until there's another little bump. So you've got two little bumps, and then you've got that soft spot where the joint bends. You're going to want to find that soft spot and make a slit. Okay, just like that. And you can go all the way around if you'd like. And then break it, cut that cord, and there it is right there. So you find that knee, you find that bump, you find the valley, and you're going toward the foot, right? So you make a slit, go around. Basically what you're doing is cutting the skin. Then you bend it backwards, dislocating it, and cutting that cord, just like that. So then what I do is I turn it upside down, and then I start. I don't even know if you're seeing that, at the neck with the skin, and you're making a hole. Now this bird is under a year old, so some of it you can do with your hands. Then when you can't do it anymore with your hands, you make another slit. You got to fight through the feathers, folks, okay? You got to fight through the feathers. Make another slit, and you're working right down to the belly, okay? And you're separating the skin from the bird. What I do is go right down to where the breastbone stops. You dislocate the legs. All you're doing is taking it and pulling them down, right? It gives you more room so you can see a little better. So once you've got the breast meat, exposed, you can cut the breast meat off if you'd like right now, and sometimes I do that. But right now I'm going to be showing you how to do the whole bird, the whole carcass. So this is a clean inside out grain bag, right? And I've wiped it down, and So it's pretty clean, folks. So then what I've done here is just exposed where the leg come from the body. So I've got that all exposed. I'll cut that little bit right there. And I might have to do this over again at a different angle with the other rooster. So you can take your fingers and you can work them around between the leg and the skin. But this one's a little bit older rooster, so I'm just going to cut a little bit. And then I'm going to pull. And if you can get your thumb around that leg and work it around, because all I'm doing is following the leg, right? Now this one is a little bit tough, so I'm going to make another slit. I'm just going to work that skin off the carcass. Now this rooster is going to be a little bit stubborn. It's all right. And I've got somebody coming, folks, so I might have to stop. Sounds like Edwin. The 81-year-old, folks. "81 years old, never even saw me. Here I am in another bright green t-shirt today. Right out in the open. Never saw me. Scary. Now I've done young birds. This one's a little bit older. So on a young bird, I just dropped my knife. See, that's why I bring extras out. On a young bird, the skin comes off a whole lot easier. On an older bird, they just don't want to do that. So, knowing that, what I'm going to do is follow that leg bone up to where I took the feet off with the knife. And I'm just going to cut the skin. Then I'm going to work that skin right off the leg, just by pulling it. And then you're going to have to clean it up, right? There's going to be a few feathers that stick, especially on an older bird. But that's not bad right there. See that? That's not bad. So once I've got the legs free, we're done with this side of the bird. And you do not, folks, you do not want to cut the belly open right now, okay? And you want to be careful of the vent hole too, okay? You don't want any urine or feces on your meat, so you got to be awfully careful. So this is how I start right here. And there's probably better ways to do it, and there's probably more efficient ways to do it. But that's what you've got so far, okay? Now, I turn it over. The wind's going to hinder me. So here's the back of the bird. I'm going to turn it around. And just like I did the front, I'm going to free that neck. The wind is really going to hinder me, folks. It's beautiful out, though. It's like 40 degrees already. I'm out in a t-shirt. So once you have the neck free, then I go right down, just like I did the front, right down the back with my fingers, separating the skin, the feathers, from the back of the bird. Now the old roosters, I can tell you, even though they're under a year old, their skin is tough, folks. But once you make a slit, just use your hands and just work. You're using, on a young bird, younger than this, you're using more of your thumb and your fingers than you are a knife in a lot of areas. See, now that back, right there, I'm going to have to cut a little bit just to loosen that up. Now there's not much meat on the back of a bird, right? But there's enough in there for soup, right? Those little pockets. Now when you get down to, I'm going to open it up just a little bit. That wing, you've got to, you got to get these feathers out of the way, folks. Normally I don't do it this way, but I want to show you for those interested. You got to get the wing out of the way. Or at least the feathers, right? So here you have the back of the bird, right? Now down here, you have the tail, and then you have the back. Well, right about here, there are oil sacs, folks. You do not want to interrupt those oil sacs and get that foul-tasting oil onto your meat. So you've got to be careful right there, and I'll show you when I get there how I do it. So right now I'm going to be working on getting these feathers off so I can show you. So the process is just skinning the bird. However you want to do it. Just skin the bird, get those feathers off, and of course the wind isn't really helping me here at all today, folks. And probably the lighting isn't. But it is what it is. Keeping it real, folks. Keeping it real. Now I have freed that chunk there, which is going to open up so we can see a little better. Yeah. And those feathers will go right in the compost pile, alright? Nothing gets wasted here. Either I eat it, the birds eat it, or it gets made into soil. Alright, now that I've got this all free, and again, normally I don't do it this way, but I'm going to show you where the oil sacs are. Now here's the tail, okay? Here's the back. The legs are here, right? So right down here is where the oil sacs are. So you need to be very careful. You're going to see it gets a little tough down there. There's no meat, but there's little, I call them little plates of fat. That's what I call them. All right. So now we're down to where the back meets the tail. Now right here, that little fluff right there, I need to cut out carefully. And there it is, right there. There it is, right there, all right? So that's that. I'm just separating where the leg comes, getting the feathers out of the way. Just like that. Now, I'm going to leave that just like that for right now, okay? So I'm going to work on the wings. Now, there's not much meat on the wings, folks. But what you do is you got part of the wing exposed, right? The part that has most of the meat on a wing. And then you find that elbow, okay? And then you follow that elbow with your knife, cutting those wing feathers off. And that's going to dull your knife. folks. Now, what I do is cut down to the next joint. Let me get these feathers out of the way. Cut down to the next joint. Turn it over. Cut the skin, following the leg, until you get to that little flap right there between the meaty part of the wing and the first, well, it would be the next bump over here, but you've got a bump over here, but there's a little flap, right? There's a little flap, so you just cut up through there, just to gain access to it. Cut it off, and I know you probably can't see anything that I'm doing. So the first bird is going to be trial. It's a new setup for filming, because now I have my tripod out, so I'm exposing, I'm just skinning the skin and feathers from the legs, folks, from the wings. Just like that, folks. Now you can go all the way down to the wing tips. I don't. I just go 1, 2, find that joint right there, just like you did with the legs, okay? Find that joint, cut it off. Dislocate it. Cut the cord. Just like that. There's a wing. Part of a wing. What's left of the wing. So then you're going to have to clean all this up, right? Going to have to clean it all up. Now, a lot of people prefer to pluck their birds. They have these fancy pluckers, or they make the pluckers themselves. But I don't eat bird skin of any kind here. Never have. Now, if it's cooked on the grill, then I might nibble on it, but I'm after the meat. And like I said, this won't go to waste. Nothing here will go to waste. It'll either be composted, I'll eat it, or I'll cook it up for what I don't need and you can't use. My birds will get it. There's protein, okay? Alright, so I've got this part and this part. I don't want that part. So you cut it off. Just like that. And again, there's cleanup, okay? There's going to be cleanup. And if I wasn't in a little bit of a hurry, and I would be doing a little bit cleaner job. But however you decide, if you wanna skin it, all you're doing, folks, is finding a way that works for you to get that skin off. You can do it in big chunks. You can do it in small increments. You can do it however you want. You just need to get the feathers off, right? Now, I know of some people that they'll skin them, and then they'll take a singeing torch and just singe any hairs, any feathers that are left, and that works for them. I bet that works pretty good, actually. So, you got cleanup, but what I'm going to show you today is basic how to skin. Don't be picky, folks. There's only a few places you need to be picky on. One is down by the vent on the front side, and the oil sac on the back side, and they're both located at the base of the tail, all right? So now I've got all this. Now I'm going to take the tail off. Now I'm going to try to do this so you can see, and I'm not sure if you're going to or not. So I've got the tail. I've got what I need here for the tail. Now, how I do it, folks, how I do it is, I call them hip bones. You've got a hip bone here, and you can feel them. You've got a hip bone here, and you've got a hip bone here, okay? Now, what I do is make a V, and I cut on the tail side of the hip bone, okay? The tail side of the hip bone. And I go up to the base of the tail, up here toward the back, find the other one on the tail side of that bone, and make a V, so you're coming to a point up here, right? And come across. Come down. If you do it this way, you're going to be missing everything that you need to stay away from, okay? So once you've got that, you can take the tail and twist it right off. Alright? So you've avoided everything you need to avoid by doing it that way. Okay? Now everybody does it different. This is how I do it. And it just works for me. It just works for me. And then you cut off any scragglies, right? So, and then there'll be cleanup, right? You gotta clean it up. You don't want to be eating feathers. Oh, maybe you do. I don't know. But most people don't. So, there's that. And again, gotta clean it up, right? Because everything is sticking to it. Feathers are dry, and the meat is a little sticky. So now you've got this. You've got the legs bowed out. You've got the wings free. You've got the neck. Now, in order to get the entrails out, right, which is the gross part for a lot of people, what I do is you find the breastbone, the peak of the breastbone right here, and I just cut right there, very shallowly, okay, very shallow, and then I just follow that rib cage down, just so I can get my hand in there, okay? So what that does is open that up so you can clean it out, all right? Now I know a lot of people do that right there. You can do whatever you want, as long as you can get your hand in there. Now the first thing you're going to come to is the gizzard. Some people like the gizzard, some people don't. But I gotta get this over here, folks. You're just pulling it out, folks, all right? You're just reaching way up, way up. The heart's way up. Everything is way up. So you're just cleaning it out, folks. Anything in there has got to come out, all right? Everything in there has got to come out. Now I don't have running water. When I do this in the summer, and I can start the generator, and I can drag my hose down here, I can clean it out the best I can with my fingers. Now you're going to want to follow each one of those ribs, folks. Get those lungs out of there, all right? Then I can hose them out right down here. But I'll show you when I'm done how I do it this time of year. But the lungs are right in by the ribs. And you're going to want to scrape that out. That's what the lungs look like, okay? Just follow each one of those rib pockets. Clean that out. Any pocket in there, like toward the tail, there's pockets. Clean all that out, folks. Now that's pretty good. I can rinse the rest of that out up there. And that wind and sun, folks. Wind and sun is going to hinder me. So you're just going to want to get all that loose stuff out. And again, that's where a hose comes in handy, but it is what it is, folks. It just is what it is. You got to do it. So if you're doing a chicken and you don't have electricity, but you do have water, you're just going to have to do what you're going to have to do, right? The important part is to keep the bird clean, on a clean surface, and do it as quick as you can, especially on a hot day. Make sure it goes into a cool area, like a cooler with ice, or however you want to do that. Mine's just going to be a snowbank. That's my refrigeration this time of year, right? So that is that. Now, there's a lot of cleanup. We weren't so busy today, and I've got this is extra on top of my already busy days here, but it's got to be done. Grains going up. Feeds going up, you know, all of that, right? And I've got too many roosters. These are from last year. And I can't have that many roosters. There's just rooster fights everywhere in the yard every day. And it just adds to the drama. And anybody that's got birds, you know that, or any amount of them, you know that, you know, there's little spats here and there. Even the females will get into it and go right at it. So then you just got to clean it up, okay? And that's just going to take a little bit of picking here and there, and it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. But it's meat, right? It's meat. And even though this is like a 10-month-old pen, maybe an 8-month-old, rooster. There's still a lot of meat on the legs and on the wings and on the back. And these are New Hampshire red roosters. So New Hampshire red really don't have that much breast meat, but their legs are usually pretty big. Their meat is spectacular, folks. There's a lot of good tasting meat on a New Hampshire red. So, and that is that. All I've got to do is turn around the neck here, and then clean it up. All right. So I don't know if this even recorded or not. Now it's just cold enough here that, and windy enough that casing on the bird here is starting to wrinkle up. Now twice while I've lived here, before I got my birds established so they can have their own broods, and I can, you know, cull from the flock as I go for my meat, and, you know, they'll breed and they'll lay eggs and they'll hatch the eggs, and then I have that ongoing cycle here. But before that, the first 2 years, I bought meat birds to raise. Jumbo Cornish, and a lot of meat on those, folks. A lot of meat on those, and my preferred cull age on them is 9 weeks. That's just my preferred date. And on Muscovy ducks, my preferred date on the males is 3 months. Still a lot of meat, good flavor, but they're still good up to a year or so. So that's it. With a little cleaning up, got to clean up in there, right? I don't know if you can see that. Now for this one here, I'm going to section it up. All right, and then the cleanup will come a little bit later. But what I do is turn it upside down, and I follow follow the leg all the way up to the backbone. There's a little flap right there. What you need to do is you need to follow that flap. Follow that flap until about right there. You're going to find a joint right there, okay? Then I go to that wind. I'm telling you, that wind. And then I'm going to go to, which one did I start on? This one. And you're going to follow that hip bone right there, right? You cut on this side to get the tail off. Well, this time you're going to cut on this side. And you're going to hold that leg up. And you're going to go all the way down to that ball right there, okay? And then you're just going to follow that right down, just like that. And there you go. You've got the leg. Just that simple, folks. You've got the ball right there, the hip joint. And there's that. Now, there's a lot of meat still there. That's why we don't waste the carcass, right? There's a lot of meat still right there. So let me do it again. The other leg. Go to the backbone. Follow that flap as far as you can. Cut along this side of that fatty spot. I call it the plate. Okay? And then go down to the hip. And again, remember you found that hip and you cut this side to get the tail off. Now this side you're going to cut the side of the leg. Okay? So you're just going to follow that carcass down. Turn it over. And there you go. Quick and easy. Now, here are the wings. Wings are a pain in the butt for me. But I just hold them up like this, let the gravity do what it's going to do with the wings. And then just follow that joint around. And there it is. It's got to be cleaned up, right? Now the other one, same way. Lift it up. Cut right underneath like the armpit. Follow it around. Here comes somebody else. More people going by, more family. Okay, so then you've got the legs are off. Now what you've got left is you've got the neck. What I do is leave the neck right on the carcass, and when I make soup, it's all in there. But the breast meat, all right? Now the breast meat goes from either side of the backbone. So what I do is cut down to the backbone, all the way down toward the neck. Okay, you're just separating that. And you're just following that little breastbone all the way until it becomes free, right like that. Right now you've got this bone right here. You can follow that bone, which is the rib cage, folks, okay? Now the breast meat goes all the way down here. So I just take my knife and just follow that rib cage. Follow the rib cage. Following the rib cage. And all the way to the wishbone. And then there's the chicken breast right there. Okay? You've got what I call the chicken tender. Right there. You can separate that. I'll show you. You can separate that. So then you've got a chicken breast. Excuse me. You got a chicken tender. And then you've got the wishbone right here. Expose the wishbone. There's a lot of meat right there, but I'm just going to leave that right on the carcass so I can have that in my soup. And then you do the same thing again. Just following that down. Following it down. Following the bones. Following the rib cage. Now I don't get too picky on my the chicken breast. I just don't get too picky because any meat that's left on the carcass is going to be used in the soup. So I'm not too picky. And there it is. Got another chicken breast. Got that tender right there. It's already separate. It separates on its own, really, basically, folks. So then you can cut that off if you'd like. You can pull it apart. I don't want to pull it apart because I think I'm going to give that to somebody else. And I just want it to look a little prettier than shredded meat. So then, see, you've got, this is the wishbone, right? And then you've got those pockets of meat and pockets of meat there, and you got pockets of meat everywhere, and pockets of meat all over the place. And so what I will do is I'll just clean that up, and I'll just throw that in a pot with the neck and let it cook down and make soup out of it. Because even though there's little pockets of meat here and there, that's still a lot of meat that's hidden all around the carcass. So, and the legs I'll also soup up, and to separate the thigh from the drum is I find that joint right there. So you've got the obvious drum here, and you've got the obvious thigh here. Just cut right straight down. Just cut all the way around until you get to that joint. Cut the cord, dislocate, cut the cord, and then you have a drum, and you've got a nice thigh. So I think maybe one of these thighs I think I might cook up. So you do not have to part it. You can just skin it or pluck it however you want, and leave the carcass whole. And throw the whole thing in a soup pot. However you want to do it. It's going to be different for everybody. And again, I only do and only will show what I do here. And this is what I do here. So after that's cleaned up, folks. Actually, I might cook up both of those. See, nice thighs, nice thighs. And basically it's the cost of the feed, which the feed is going up. So this doesn't make this a free bird, folks. This makes this a pretty expensive bird when you're all said and done. Okay, if you buy the feed. So now what I do, folks, is somewhere here I've got, where is it? So this time of year when I do not have running water by generator, I just have a 2-gallon bag, and I just have water in it, and I put everything in there, swish it around, the legs go in, the drums go in, the wings go in, everything goes into that water, and I swish it around. Of course, right, I'm still going to have to take some of the feathers off during the last part of the cleanup. But that's easy. That's easy enough to do. So I just swish it around, clean it up a little bit. Alright, so there is that. And it's still going to be cleaned up, folks, right? But this is what I do. And that wind, I can tell you, it's coming right from the northwest today. It'd be better if it was coming from, the southeast would be perfect for filming. So then once they're rinsed off here, and again, they've got to be cleaned up, I'll just put them in another Ziploc bag. And yes, I'll drain any liquid out of that. Okay, I don't like any of my meat in water, sitting in water. I just don't like that. I don't think that's good for it. That it. That's that. And now comes the carcass, right? Same thing. Put the carcass in there. Tuck the neck in, and all we're doing is just getting the initial the initial whatever off it, right? Clean it up just a little bit. It'll have to be cleaned up again, but to store it, you want it just as clean as you can. And without running water, this is the best way that I know how to do this. It's just the best way I know how. So as you can see, that cleaned up pretty good, right? Still got to clean up in there a little bit, but I'm comfortable enough to, what I've cleaned out is going to be good for having the bird rest, all right? And you make sure that cavity doesn't have any water in it, folks. Then I just tuck it in the gallon bag. And then I hold it, and then I let it drain. I'm just letting it drain, so there's not much water in there at all, folks, okay? Now make sure that cavity is upside down so it's not going to collect any water, all right? Now what you could do is you could do this and then have a paper towel, and then you could get water off each piece with a paper towel and then store it. But this right here, this method has never failed me. It's just never failed me. So, right there, folks. So here, for my birds, one rooster, including the carcass, fills up pretty much a one gallon bag. All right. So I'm going to put that here. It's cold enough so I can put it underneath, and then I'll start on the other one. But before I do that, I'm going to make sure this filmed. Yeah. Now normally I have a bucket in the back, right underneath that little, I call it the trash pocket. But I've got a pail over here already, so I'm just gonna do that and just take whatever water's there. Now if it was like 90 degrees or really, really hot, I would, for my next bird, I would change the grain bag out so it's new. But don't have to, it's cold enough. It's cold enough. Even in the sun, it's cold enough. But it's pretty comfortable and well, for me, because I'm outside a lot, but it's comfortable for me in a t-shirt right here in the sun. But it's still okay to do a bird. So that is that. Now I'm ready for the next one. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop filming. I am going to see how this recorded and adjust accordingly. And if I need to film doing the next bird, I certainly will do that. It's hanging from the kill cone. But I'm going to bring you along to show you how I refrigerate what I just did. Okay? Alright, so I'm at my refrigerator, my new refrigerator, right? And that's all in a bag, and that's all ice down there, right? So all I'm going to do is take my shovel and bury it. Now it's pretty hard to do this one-handed because I didn't bring my tripod. That's all you're gonna do, folks. So if you ever find yourself having to do this without any power, or you don't want to run your generator and waste gas or be heard, and it's this time of year, okay, that ought to do it right there until I get the next one. Okay, so that's just one way. That's just one way. And even though it's sunny out and 40 degrees, it's supposed to be up to 45 today, I will cover that, but right now that's perfectly fine, just like that.